Hello, hello, hello. Hello, how's it going? Today, as always, I'm going to stream about my week, how my week went, and then after streaming, after talking about how my week went and doing like this kind of classic week overview thing, I'm going to be complaining a little bit because I want to rant. So, yeah, I just read a tweet. Well, I'll probably show the tweet if I remember. And there was a little line that inspired me to rant, so I'm going to be ranting. And I don't have any solutions or whatever for the contents of the rant, but I want to vent. And I don't want to make a video of it. I don't think I want to be uploading a video like ranting and complaining and such. But at least on stream I'm going to rant. So yeah. Yo, and yeah, how has your week been? My week this week was actually, I guess, not monotonous. There were like some things going on and such. So yeah, on Monday we did have class with this trainer called Alex, well, the one that we've had the past weeks or whatever. And yeah, that Monday we just reviewed a little bit, like we did like a module that was kind of easy, and then we reviewed like a well, there was like a chunk of time that was dedicated to like doing one-on-one reviews of the test from Friday. I didn't do it on Monday because I didn't have time, but yeah, that's what we did on Monday basically. It was like an easy module. I forgot which kind of module. I think driving with like fahren mit verminderten Reibwert. So like when it's sliding and so, but it's like it's in an easy module because throughout the course we already get taught how to drive like that, and this is just like a module of repetition and like maybe a couple of expansion, a little bit expanded, but it was like pretty straightforward. So yeah, I think that was what we did on Monday, and it was pretty easy, boring and such. And then yeah, I just have pictures, and then we on the afternoon they turned on the lights in Munich. They are these lights, so we went to see those. And yeah, that's what we did on Monday. And then afterwards we went to get like, that's in Marienplatz, and we went after Marienplatz to this Residenzhof, I think it's called, and it's like in between Marienplatz and Odeonsplatz. There's like this Hof, this inner like courtyard or whatever, where they sometimes do events and such. And yeah, this time it was like at a different Weihnachtsmarkt, and yeah, they had like a Glühwein and a hot dog or whatever, like this Nürnberger and such, and we had that. Well, I didn't have anything, but yeah. And then I have a picture of me crying. Well, not crying, but like it's a picture taken at 1 a.m. Which is when I think I went to bed. I went to bed that day at 1 a.m. because I was like talking to ChatGPT about sad things and such, so it was like sad. And then I took a picture for some reason. Nothing much. I was at the Weihnachtsmarkt. Oh, wait, on Friday, but the first place where we went was empty, so it just didn't take place apparently. So we walked a bit further to like 8 stalls, and still too many people to easily work around. And after getting some waffles and hot chocolate, we went home again. Lol. Yeah, we didn't stay super long there. We had like this Glühwein. Well, it was like me, a classmate, another classmate, and his girlfriend that he met at this company, at our company. But she lives in Frankfurt, so he goes to see her quickly. And this time she came here to Munich, so she visited him, and she was like short, like for a short time. We were all for a short time. It was raining, by the way, for a short time in this kind of Weihnachtsmarkt with the big tree with lights. We were there for like 1 minute or so. Well, they were there for like 1 minute. We were there for like, I don't know, 15-20 minutes until they turned it on. But yeah, after they turned it on, like 2-3 minutes or whatever. And then we went to a Weihnachtsmarkt, and yeah, they had a Glühwein and this kind of hot dog or whatever, and then she had to go to catch a train back to Frankfurt. So yeah, we didn't stay super long. Then the next day, 0% policy. Legit, one of the guys with us wanted a sausage, but they didn't have any since it was so small, and the group was from Bev, the thing where I get help there. And they have a 0% policy, so no alk with him. Otherwise, I would have gotten some too. I actually wanted to have a hot chocolate. One of them had a coffee, and the other one had a hot chocolate. That was while waiting for the fucking lights to turn on, and I was like, I want to get one. I lucky want to get one, but I don't know. I had my gloves on, so I didn't want to like do things, and I don't like fund as a concept, right? So I don't like having to like pay something and then they give you back the fucking €2 coin or whatever. I don't like the vibe. So, and I don't like the high prices as well. So I abstained. But yeah. But yeah, she for example, the girl, she tried something called Feuerzapfen bowl or something like this. Feuerzangen bowl, and that sounded good. So I think I want to try that, and I doubt they sell that. So I think I will purposefully go to like a Weihnachtsmarkt and try that in the coming weeks before I leave to Spain. Yeah, then Tuesday after that, we had a different day. This was like a varied day because we had like VR. We had a VR training, and it was funny. It was this day. It was like something about operating. Yeah, it's like not. It was not like not something. So something in emergency, and it's like how to act in an emergency. And the VR scenario has like you know like where to break the windows on this train. We don't use those trains, so it's like kind of pointless. But yeah, it was funny. It was fun to like try out the VR headset and do these things. I can show it. I can't show it because it's not me, but I can show that. And then the next day we also, well, that day we had, how do you say? I went to the gym, by the way, that on Tuesday. I've changed my schedule to go to the gym on Tuesdays. This is me with the VR headset. It's the HTC, well, the Vive XR Elite or something like this. And it's actually decent. It's like full wireless. It's kind of small. I think it doesn't have a huge like range, but it's decent enough. And to be honest, because it's like small and like you don't have any cables or whatever, it's like pretty chill, right? And you get immersed quite well. I liked it. Yeah, the first day it was EOV, so like elektrisch Ortgestellte Weichenbereich, and it's like a really simple thing where you have to like basically Weichen, you like set them in their positions yourself instead of like asking the Fahrdienstleiter or the Weichenwärter to do that. You do it yourself. There are like specific places where you have to do that. That was on Tuesday, and then this day was the day of like the not thing of the emergency things. I like Glühwein, but here I couldn't get any, so I bought some on the way home. But but since I drank basically a liter at once, I had a headache before going to bed. Damn. I mean, I like Glühwein, but I'm not sure if I could drink a whole bottle at. Well, I mean, probably could, but I'm not sure if I would do it. You know, it's like I think I don't like it that much. But I guess if you prepare it, right? If you are preparing it yourself, it's like you have to do the whole bottle or whatever, right? It's like, or you don't have to, but since you're getting out like the fucking, right? And doing all the stove heating and such, it's like might as well do a little bit more. I don't know. Maybe if I find this Feuerzapfen bowl for sale, I'll buy it and I'll try it out. Maybe I'll buy it for Spain as a gift or something, or to have it in like, I don't know, Christmas or whatever. If my brother comes home or something, although I'm not sure if he will drink a lot of alcohol. I think he's like kind of cutting back on like unhealthy stuff and shit like this. I was at the Weihnachtsmarkt in München once with my sister and my dad. Sisters and my dad. My sisters bought stuff for Christmas, and me and my dad got Glühwein there. It's pretty good. Nice. Maybe I'll go there. At the main Weihnachtsmarkt, right? This one in the middle. Feuerzangenbowle. Yeah, I don't know why I say Feuerzapfen. I say Zapfen because there is a thing called Drehzapfen in the trains. Not in ours. I think ours go by this kind of Zug-und-Druck-Stange instead of like the Drehzapfen. But there is like this thing to connect like the Drehgestell with the fucking Rahmen of the train, and that's called Drehzapfen. So the Zapfen thing is like in my mind. But yeah, Feuerzangenbowle. And I don't know why it has like the E at the end. Feuerzangenbowle. Bowl. But yeah, I want to try that. Then yeah, as I said, Wednesday was VR again, which was pretty cool. Tuesday was this kind of VR and then gym. Then I think laundry. I think this is the laundry room. Yeah, I did laundry as well. When I go to the gym, I usually do laundry as well. Wednesday, again VR, and it snowed. I think I made a video, yep, of it snowing. It snowed. Ooh. But it didn't set. Then on Thursday, I had, how do you say? On Wednesday, I went early to bed because on Thursday, I had this fat tag. So, yeah. It was with this trainer that I hadn't had once called Max. I have a picture of him because he saw my phone, this kind of phone that folds, right? So he was like, "Oh, interesting, right? Do you like it, or how is it holding up, or something?" And I put it, and I said it's cool for taking pictures, right? Because for example, you put it here, and because my phone takes pictures whenever it sees a smile, he like smiled in front of it, and it took a picture. So I smiled on it. So yeah, it took a picture. But and then, therefore I have a picture of him. And yeah, he was pretty nice. He was like there is like this baseline nice, right? So it's like they ask you some questions that are like kind of normal, and the vibe is like normal, right? But it's mostly kind of expected that I guess you ask them questions, right? But this guy was like a little bit more proactive than that, right? He was like, hey, so what do you think about this? Or like, I have this kind of recommendation, or I think this about that, right? So that made it made it easier. I'm not sure if he could, because it was the first time or whatever, but I don't know. I liked him. He also let me drive basically all of the time, except like the Stammstrecke when it was like full. But I did get a couple of Stammstrecke runs as well, so pretty chill, and it was fun. And I got a little bit of like because he told me, hey, yeah, you can leave earlier if you want, because at the end of the shift there was like this kind of very short drive until the Werkstatt and then back, but in the middle there was like a 40-minute break. So he was like, yeah, if you don't want to, you can leave early, right? And then but then he said something like, but if you have questions or whatever, you can also stay, blah blah blah, right? And I was like, I live, right? Which felt a little bit rude to do, but to be honest, I liked him, right? So I wouldn't have minded staying there. But he said something like, yeah, if you have any questions to ask me or whatever, you can stay and ask them. And because I didn't have any questions, right, I said like, no, I don't have any questions, right? So yeah. And then the next day, I had an old guy that I've had for several times, called, well, I'm not going to check his name just in case, but yeah, I've had it a couple of times. So this is like baseline nice, right? It's not bad, but it's not like shiningly good, or like there aren't like super sparks of niceness, right? It's more like baseline chill, like decent vibes, but also like kind of like some awkward moments because of like it's too silent and there is like not a lot of conversation or whatever, because also some misunderstanding, right? Because he doesn't, sometimes I say something and he doesn't understand, which is kind of sad. But yeah, both days there were like, in case you want to know, S1, the S1 to the airport, Neufahren Freising, Neufahren Flughafen, and we did like a couple of Kupplung and Endkupplung, and I had to speak a little bit, which was a little bit like that. And sometimes one time I didn't understand the Fahrdienstleiter really, but I just said like some default sentence or whatever, and nothing happened. But yeah, that's kind of. But yeah, that's probably something to work on for the future. But yeah, I guess first time speaking with the Fahrdienstleiter, which is interesting. Both days I spoke a little bit, and also with the other colleagues, right? Because you have to, when you're coupling and end coupling, you have to do like whatever, right? You have to do like, yeah, ich nehme zwei Zugteilen or something, or like when you leave them, it's like, yeah, störungsfrei, blah blah blah, right? Or something. Then that day I ate something and then went back home to the gym as well. Friday, new gym day, and I ate duck. I went to the Lidl and I ate this duck. I made it myself. This is kind of gochujang cucumber salad, Korean style, with scallions, a little bit like gochujang, soy sauce, vinegar, rice vinegar, and the salad was pretty tasty. The duck was a little bit too raw, I think, and too tough, because ChatGPT told me, yeah, actually, duck is really good when it's kind of raw. And I listened to ChatGPT and like I have a thermometer, but it's like a grill thermometer, so I'm not sure how well it is. But yeah, and yeah, I don't know. The meat was a little bit tougher than I wanted to. I'm not sure exactly. Hello, hello. Okay, I don't know. It went down. Scheiße. I think it is back. I think it's back at a low resolution or something. Maybe it's back, but at a lower bit rate. It's back, but maybe there are some dropouts. Yeah, I think so. I see the bit rate dropping a lot. I'm not sure why. Let me try. Twitter seems like it's loading at least, but not it's not really loading. Okay, now it's loading. Okay, Twitter loaded. So far it's good on my end. Yeah, I see it. The bitrate is like super low for some reason, so I don't know what's happening. I guess you see me like in 360p or something like this, but at least it works. It's working. I don't know. I noticed it because the duck picture didn't load, by the way. Now I'm still on HD, so I don't know. Then good enough. Is HD lower bitrate? Because I know it's like 500 bitrate kilobits per second. I can see it, but yeah. And yeah, this is like the duck from a Chinese place, and as you can see, sorry, Vietnamese place. I say Chinese because it's like equivalent to Chinese duck that we have in Spain, right? When you go to a Chinese restaurant and ask for duck, this is what you get. So I'm not sure like how authentically Vietnamese it is, but yeah, maybe it's just that they are similar cuisines or that this dish is like common in general. I don't know. But yeah, this duck is like much less pink. It's much more medium than pink, and it was tender, right? So I'm not sure why. Maybe they like cook it slowly, and then they in like the fucking pan or whatever. Like they deep. It looks more like deep something, right? Maybe they just deep fry it or something. I have no idea how they make it, to be honest. But yeah, this professional one was kind of like decent, right? It was like tasty and such, crunchy on the outside and like tender on the inside. Mine wasn't as much. Then at dinner I had this. That was the only thing I did on Saturday. By the way, I tried to code something. I tried to code some application that I've had a project for a while of like a thing that analyzes the beats of the language, and I coded it with AI. So AI used AI to like do this analysis, and it wasn't satisfactory enough to me. Not gonna lie. So I left it there and I just did other things. And then I had dinner, which was this with just the day before's duck, cold, coriander, the same salad, and some duck fat on the fucking bread. And this bread was some bread that I bought there at the mall from a Balkan place. A baguette, €1. It's actually pretty decent, I think. Oh, that looks better than the duck you made yourself. No offense, lol. Taken. I am offended, but you are right also. So not much to do about that. Besides trying to improve or something. To be fair, my duck is like very red also because it's glazed with gochujang sauce, but I don't know. Nah, it's pink because it's pink. Like the red on the outside is like the gochujang sauce. And then today I went to the gym and watched some YouTube, and that's it. And then started streaming. I'm going to then continue with not the AI application, and continue with some other AI thing, and yeah, that's about it. That's the week. I mean, it's more than I ever really would make since I don't really cook ever, and I would also not try something I never did before, especially on my own. I don't know, I'm kind of disappointed on how it turned out, but also it wasn't that bad. I think, honestly, I'm not sure. I'm not good at diagnosing. That's a problem, to be honest. Okay, I'm going to go drink some water. Okay, I have a water here. Now I'm going to show the tweet, and then I'm going to rant. Okay, this is the tweet. Well, it's loading, and it's like Paula. She's a mutual, and she has done a couple of tweets like this, imitating Zizek. I'm not sure if you know who he is. He's like this philosopher or something, and he's like this Lacanian philosopher, and he has like these tics, right? He does like a lot, and he also speaks with this kind of accent or something like this. So he has like this very peculiar thing, and he says like and so on and so on and so on. Never heard of him. I can show it because I'm also like pronouncing it probably wrong. Zizek, Slavoj Zizek. He's like, I don't know, from when Slovenia, I think, Slovenia. And yeah, he talks about this, and he talks about the ideology a lot, right? This concept of like ideology. I think it's Lacanian concept, or I think it's like his concept developed out of like Lacanian things. And she said something like this, she tweeted this: consider if you will this peculiar Silicon Valley confession. I worked for 36 hours with no sleep. Although I was dead, I also felt energized. I even fell asleep a few times driving home my Cybertruck, but full self-driving came in clutch. This is like parodying San Francisco people, right? Happy Thanksgiving. People read this and say, wow, so crazy. No, this is not crazy. This is ideology, speaking in the first person. Look at what he's really proud of, not what he built, not the result. He is proud of his own exhaustion. He whips himself and calls it self-actualization. Before, the saint starved in the cave for God. Now, the engineer fasts from sleep for the billionaire. And the best part, the truly obscene part, is the drive home. Here, the machine steps in as what Lacan would call the big other, the big adult in the room that keeps going while you collapse. You can be unconscious, half dead, and still you are productive because the car does the driving, the system does the watching. You close your eyes, the algorithm stays awake. But notice the ideological twist. Rather than confronting the absurdity of a society where one works until unconsciousness, the narrative is inverted. The same system that squeezes him until he's sleeping at the wheel also appears as his savior. This is pure capitalism. First, it injures you. Then it sells you for the bandage, and you say thank you. Then it sells you the bandage, and you say thank you. You wreck yourself for one of these billionaire's machines, and then another one of his machines rescues your body on the drive home. Which brings us to the happy Thanksgiving. It is the final twist of the knife. Gratitude here is not for rest or sanity or enough sleep to drive safely. Gratitude is for the privilege of being exhausted in the right office, in the right hoodie for the right man. You give thanks to the very structure that wears you down. It's like saying grace over your own burnout. Thus, the man who naps on the freeway is not a deviation. He is the ideal subject of your time, of our time. Half alive, overworked to the point of being a public hazard, and then thanking the machine that keeps this madness just barely on the road. The system grinds him down, risks his life, and then the lives of everyone around him, and his reaction is not, this cannot go on, but I am so grateful. In this one man in a Cybertruck, you get the whole picture at once. Exploitation, technology, and holiday cheer condensed into a single obedient thank you. I think this is probably a reference to someone who posted that about the Cybertruck. Let's see, Cybertruck. I could actually ask. Maybe it's just like the vibes, right? And I saw this, right? I saw this line of kind of this gratitude is for the privilege of being exhausted in the right office. And here, right? The same system that squeezes him until he is sleeping at the wheel also appears as his savior, right? And I was thinking about that and being like, damn, so true, right? And I wrote this. I wrote, if I can have them, I don't give a fuck, right? It's like, I've liked cars my whole life, right? I've liked cars since I was like very little, right? And it's like, why the fuck do I like something that I can barely have, right? Why do I like expensive cars or so if I can't have them? It makes no sense to like that, right? So it's like, if I like them, if I can't have them, I don't give a fuck, right? If I can't have a Ferrari, it's like, why the fuck would I care about a Ferrari, right? It's like, why would I learn how Ferraris are built? Because that's like learning the things that build the machine you can't have, right? It's like, why the fuck would I learn how to build the machine I can't have? That makes no sense, right? It's completely backwards, right? I still like them. I won't hate cars from now on, right? But it's like, I don't know. Same with the train driving, right? It's like, why the fuck am I learning so much about trains? And it's just because if I can't have them, right? It's just to drive them. I'm not having a train, right? It's not my train. I don't want to make the trains better for myself because they're just there, right? It's like, they're not my trains. I just drive them. And one could argue that they are like for society or whatever, right? But it's like, sure, but also I don't know. It's like there is like it's the balance between these things, right? Yeah. In that one sense, for example, it's like the engineer who builds a Volkswagen Golf, right? Who engineers it and then gets to drive the Volkswagen Golf. That's actually kind of dope, right? It's like, damn, you put this thing that mobilized society. That's actually fucking dope, right? And you get to taste. You're part of it. You were a small component. Maybe you don't engineer the whole Golf, for example. You engineer just like you do the fucking molding. You kind of design the molding for the side door, right? And it's like, okay, you didn't do the whole car, but at least you go to a Golf, and if you get to buy the Golf, you kind of close the right door, and it's like, fuck, I designed this, right? That's cool. But for a Ferrari, right, it's like learning all about Ferraris. Whoa, the Ferrari has like this V8, flat plane V8. They have like 90-degree angle between the V's, firing order, blah, 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 right? It's like, why the fuck would you learn so many data about a car you're not gonna drive, right? It's like, it makes no sense. So I'm angry because of that, right? This is my rant. And as I said, I don't have any solutions or something. I just want to complain, right? But on the other hand, I don't want to complain too much, right? Because on the other hand, it's like it depends on the angle you see it with, right? For example, I could see my situation right now as, whoa, I'm being paid to literally learn about trains, right? That's actually crazy, right? But it's like I have to listen to myself also, right? I have to listen to, or not listen to myself, but like pay attention to what actually happens, right? And what actually happens is that on the afternoons, for example, I'm not like learning more about trains or whatever, right? I'm not learning about. Well, actually, today I watched the train video. I watched the video about an accident, bad idling, Colbert Moore. I did watch a video about that. But it's not all every day, right? So, for example, yeah, I don't know. It's like I'm getting paid to learn about trains, which is cool. And in a sense, it's like a dream, right? But then when you are living the dream, it certainly doesn't feel dream-like, right? You feel the other pressures, right? You kind of feel like the tension that isn't the dream, right? You feel like the not non-dreamy tensions. You see the non-dreamy parts. You see like the ties that you are going to be like, okay, I'm going to have to do this, right? They are going to control my sleep schedule and shit like this, right? It's like I'm getting paid now to learn this, but in the future, what awaits is like people controlling my sleep schedule and stuff, right? Which is interesting also because it's like you are getting paid to like drive a train, which is cool, but also you are like there are like all these components and such, right? So I don't know. It's like it's an interesting situation. You know, and not just this situation, but like in general every situation, right? It's like if I had gone into engineering, for example, I would probably like be equally frustrated, right? Because it's like I'm doing, for example, my friend is doing engineering for a racing team, right? He's like doing composites. But if you do composite engineering, it's like for a car, he's doing engineering for a car that it's not that he basically knows that it's not going to come out because it's like yeah, because the project is like kind of bad or whatever, right? So it's like that feels pointless, and then it's like you feel like what the fuck am I doing, right? Then if you're working for, as I said, on the expensive cars, right? You're like, bro, I'm not even going to touch this, right? It's like I'm just engineering. It's like, yeah, sure, you're like working through complex problems, right? You are like, if you create like the Bugatti, right? It's like the engineers who made the Bugatti Veyron. It's like they are probably like proud of that, right? Because it was like an engineering marvel, as you could say, right? It's like a car that is like so complex and like has like gone overcome so many challenges thanks to like people who thought how to overcome them and like investigated and such, and then like made the steps so that it could actually be produced, right? And that is cool in a sense, right? That is cool on its own merit, but the people who drive that car are not the people who actually thought that process, right? They are not the people who came up with the solutions, right? So it's like, then what's the point, right? It's like if I can't have it, I don't give a fuck, right? I wrote multiple websites and codes for websites where the customer then basically cancelled and everything was for nothing. So I guess I get your point. But I don't really mind as long as I get paid in the end. Yeah, I guess that is a way to see it, right? I guess it is a way to say it, but I don't know. It's not satisfactory for me to think about it that way, right? It's like, yeah, as long as I get paid. I do think that, for example, on the days that are a little bit boring, right? When it's boring in at work, aka at school, train driving school, I'm like, for example, there is like a diversity training day, or like there is this fucking whatever, right? I'm like, fuck, I'm getting paid for this, right? It's not that bad, right? But also, it's like, I don't know, kind of stupid, also in a way, right? And I guess with the websites, it's like, yeah, you write the codes for a customer and then they canceled it, and you're like, I got paid for that, right? I don't care about the outcome. I just care that I get paid for it. I guess if you don't care about the outcome, then it's good, or like then it's working. Like it's a relationship that works, right? It's like I code something that works, and you decide what to do with it, and I don't have a say on it, and that works for me, and I get paid, whatever, right? That is like a thing. But I guess I just don't like a lot those dynamics. I don't know. I guess I understand that it's because like some people know more and some people know less, right? So it's like if you know more about creating websites than whoever pays you, and they pay you and you do it, then it's like chill. And it's like they understand, okay, I don't know about websites, I'll just pay someone to create it and then have it. It's like I understand the logic or whatever, but for me it's like being in those in that circle, I don't like it. Arbeitkehrende Maßnahmen. Basically two people shoveling dirt each other up. Let's see. I don't know. Bing doesn't tell me a lot about that word. But yeah, I don't like that feeling of like two people just shoveling dirt to each other back and forth and then they get paid. And I don't know, it's like not that also. I don't like shoveling dirt and then the hole is not my hole, right? It's like that bothers me. Doesn't surprise me since it's just basically work creating measures. Yeah, I guess. I think this is less about that, but and more about who you work for in general, right? It's like I don't know. It's like the advancement of society, etc. Right? It's like thinking about advancement of society, things like this, right? It's like if I don't get better food, if I don't get better transport, if I don't get better whatever, it's like I'm not going to work for you to get better whatever, right? That is like my point. It's like if I don't get, and then it comes down to how much I trust the narrative of like people, right? It's like if people are like, no, but if you create wealth or whatever, right, then blah blah blah, right? I don't know. It's like I'm not sure if I buy it, right? If I buy all of these theories that people have, it's like sure, now we live like I watched a video the other like yesterday about a guy who was like talking about these things, and I don't fully agree with him, but he did say something like, yes, we may live like kings now compared to the past, right? We have like water that's hot, blah blah blah, right? But also the people who are the kings from now, they live like mega kings, right? So it's like, they are winning, certainly, right? They are winning way more than the people who are supposed to be like living like kings, right? So it's that okay, that makes it enough in a sense, but also why, right? It's like why am I going to work for you to live better if I don't live that much better, right? If I'm just going to live normal, why I'm going to work for? See the point, right? It's like there is this thing called like there is this, for example, if you go to do look at like business advice or whatever, right? Imagine, for example, that suddenly you inherit the company for your uncle from your uncle or whatever, right? And you start watching these videos about how to make the company better, right? Because you suddenly care. Big assumption. I assume you probably wouldn't care that much, and you would just like keep your clients or whatever, right? But assume you actually start caring for some reason, and you're like, okay, I want to grow the company or whatever. It's like the advice you would get would be to be something like get rid of the annoying clients that pay little and get good clients that pay more, right? That's essentially, it boils down to that. The more you can do that, the more money you can make with the least amount of trouble. So that's obviously like a great business strategy, you know? It's the obvious thing. One thing is like how difficult it is to achieve that. If you actually want to do that, how difficult it is to achieve that, etc. But my problem is with it in like principle, right? In principle, that thing is literally just serve the rich, right? Basically, it's that. It's like position yourself in a way that better serves the rich. It's like provide the maximal amount of money to the rich, right? The maximal amount of value to the rich, to the people who can pay it, who are the rich, I guess, right? So it's like, right? It's kind of suspicious, right? I mean, I understand. It's like, I guess it depends on your mentality, right? Is it zero sum mentality or is it like positive sum mentality, right? If you have zero sum mentality, you are more likely to think like I'm thinking right now of like, I don't want to work for you if I don't get better, right? Because it means you are getting better and I'm not. Positive sum mentality is like, okay, I will work for you to get better because if you get better, I also get better. Even if you get a lot more better than I still get more. I still get a little bit more, right? That's like positive sum, right? It's like the size of the pie increases. It's the whole pie that increases. We create more, right? If you get more of it, I still get more, and the pie is bigger, right? It's like we have made society better overall. I think that is like a way to see it. But I guess I am seeing it less like that. It's like it feels like the pie isn't getting bigger in the parts that are important, right? It feels well. My boss is the one deciding, not me, so I really don't care. But also, I wouldn't give a fuck if they pay better. It's rather to have a good image that if I tell you, well, get this done, no problem. That we then will get it done. No matter what happens, give good service. Good service will get you more customers in the end. That would be my priority, I think. Yeah, but imagine, for example, you spend a lot of time like getting good customers, serving the customers or whatever that pay very little, right? It's like then you are and you could have spent that same amount of time you doing that same good service with customers that pay more, then you would have made more money. That's like, it's like, yeah, the priority, like this priority is always like doing good, but if you can do it good and get more, it's like, why would you just do it good for someone who pays less, right? I don't know. Oh, this chair is so fucking uncomfortable. I won't change more since they can pay more. But I would have charged the customers that can pay more the same way since it's the same amount of work, no? But if they can pay more, you know what I mean? If they can pay more and you do the same amount of work, why would you? I won't change more since they can pay more, right? I guess that is the advice, like the advice you would get from entrepreneurs or whatever, right? From this coach or whatever would be to not do that, right? They would be like, okay, then charge more, right? It's like, if you can do the same thing and charge more for it, just charge more. It's like it doesn't matter that the other person who, if they can pay more, why not be a cunt? Good point. I mean, it's not good. Well, you can say that way, yeah. I guess it depends, right? It's like, is it being a cunt if you can do it, right? I mean, that is how you get at like $12 donor, right? 12 euro donor, because they are like, okay, donor used to be 3 euros. Can we charge 4? Sure, people pay. Can we charge 5? Sure, people pay. Right? Can we charge 6? Sure, people pay. But suddenly, 12 euro donor. The fuck? But people pay, right? It's like, are they cunts? Maybe, right? But also, it's like, it costs that nowadays, right? The 3 euro donut in 2019 that I had used to have at school, it's now 5 euros. And there is now a 650 option in that place. And that place is like the cheapest donut I've seen in Munich since I've come back. That place, like my old place, is the cheapest one. Here in my station, down there, it's 6 euros. In Ostbahnhof, it's like 9. And right by my side at work, it's also like 8-9. Richelstrasse, where we used to work or whatever, where we used to go to school. There was like a small place, an Imbis. That place was also like 8-9. Crazy. Yeah, but the donor example is not he's poor, so I'll charge $5. He's rich, so it's 15 for him. It got more expensive, but for everyone, not specifically for the people who have more money. Yeah, like the point is not like it's to make it more expensive overall, right? That is the thing. It's not charge these people more, right? And it's like the way you see it is like the mindset shift you have to do is not, oh, he's he's richer, so I charge him more. It's like the opposite, right? No, I'm not charging him more. I'm charging the other person less, right? It's like if you have the current client and you have a current pricing, you keep those clients and you do them the favor of keeping the price, and the new one, richer, gets higher price. The new one, the old one, has like the old he has the old pricing, which is like loyalty pricing. You can name it whatever the fuck you want, right? Loyalty pricing, uh, trusted customer, blah blah blah, right? That is the advantage of being with me for longer, and the new guy gets more, gets that pays you more, right? That's like the pricing strategy, right? And it's like there comes one point where you're like, this guy is paying me this, you're paying me that, so you can either or that, that is how it gets. Okay, I got it wrong. Yeah, in our case, if we get more expensive, we would lose some customers, but overall, but would probably get more per hour, but less work and less money in the end. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's also like in a real business, it's a process, right? It also depends on like how much of your business is like acquiring new versus maintaining what you have, right? But yeah, again, like my point isn't business strategy, right? I don't care about business strategy or whatever. My point is that this phenomenon, right, this tactic, which is, it's not a tactic, right? It's like business logic in general, right? It's like how can you make your business grow more? Like how can you make your business give you more money? It's simply by making the people pay you more money. And who can pay more money? The people who are richer, right? That's simply that, like that, right? It's like if you are choosing to do websites, right? You can do like, okay, what do we do? Websites for like selling Girl Scout cookies, right? Or like websites for volunteers, or like websites for unemployed people, right? Curriculum, for example, curriculum websites, resume websites. It's like fuck no, right? It's like you are doing websites for like fucking companies, software company that makes software for Apple, or like that makes for software to create, I don't know, fucking piece, like I don't know, a suspension for Volkswagen, right? You make that website, right? It's like you make websites for people who have fucking money to pay your website, right? That is like the tactic, right? And the more money they have to pay your website, right, the more you can charge for it. But look at the good side. I don't have to think about this, so I don't care, lol. I care, to be honest, right? But the reason I care is precisely because I want, like, it's because I liked Ferraris, right? It's like if I like a Ferrari, but I never get to drive it, it's like what the fuck is the point, right? So it's like, in a way, I have been forced to care about this, right? Just by having expensive hobbies, well, expensive taste, I guess, by liking expensive things, you get you eventually reach the point of like, okay, how the fuck can I get the expensive thing? And that is the way, right? The way is always sucking up to the people who are rich already, right? And that can make sense and cannot make sense in a way. It's like, it's complicated, right? And like, is it avoidable? Is it not avoidable? You can not care, right? There is the option of not caring, but that doesn't mean you don't avoid it, right? Like, for example, when you work, who are you making richer? It's your boss, right? Who in this case is your uncle. So in that case, it's not that bad, right? I guess. At the current time, probably myself, since I think I currently work less hours than I should. I don't know. Maybe. I really doubt it. I really doubt you are charging more for your hour of work than your uncle is charging the client for your hour of work. You know what I mean? However many you do. Maybe he is, right? I don't know. Maybe he's like, fuck, my nephew's here or whatever. I should make him do something or whatever. Or I could help him out or whatever. And it's like, fuck. Or maybe there is like some of this Arbeit, Kreis, whatever thing going on, right? Where he's like, let's create some work for him or something, right? Maybe. I don't know. What I would imagine, like the average thing, is that he is charging more the client for your work than you are charging him, or that he's paying you, right? Also, I don't know why I should care since it was a contract. I work these hours and get the money for it. He might get more for the hours, but he has more work and responsibilities that I don't want to have. So I'm very fine with this. Yeah, that works. Yeah, I guess he has more work and responsibilities, etc. That is a decent angle, a decent way to see it. I think to not get less than others for your hours, you will have to work for yourself or be a boss, and that is something not something I'm looking for. Yeah, that's probably true, right? You have to work for yourself or be a boss. And when you work for yourself, it's annoying, right? It's like you have to deal with all these things, blah blah blah. I guess I wonder what would happen if everyone worked for themselves, right? What would you do if you worked for yourself? It's like, would eventually like jobs end up rising up or something like this? It's like someone would tell you, okay, you kind of work for yourself, but now if I give you this, you actually get these responsibilities taken away from you. Do you accept? And you would be like, yeah, actually, I accept, or something like this, right? Which would eventually be kind of like a job, right? It's like you accept the separation from the responsibilities and also the separation from like the outcome, right? Both things. I guess it depends on where you work also, right? For example, if you work in software, the good thing about software is that either you don't care or you can actually use it yourself, right? For example, if you work at Facebook, not only do you make so much money, you're actually using Facebook yourself, right? And if you don't use Facebook yourself, you're kind of a hypocrite or whatever, right? It's like, or it's like you're not a hypocrite, but you're just on the team. I don't care, right? But if you work in like the real world, doing real things in the world, right? Because for example, there is no luxury software. You know what I mean? Software is like software. There is more expensive software, etc., but there is not luxury software. It's like software just does things, and if it's more expensive, it's just because businesses pay more for it or whatever, right? Or because they literally have like a person on support for you 24/7 or something. But there is no luxury software. There is no commoditized software in that way, I guess. Software is just something that scales. It's like the ultimate scaler. Meanwhile, on many other things, there is actually like scarcity, right? There is like real scarcity. I guess yeah, this is related to scarcity, I guess, right? So if I can't have it, it's like why work on something scarce? Scarcity. Why work on something scarce? It's more expensive if it works better or can do more things together. Yeah, also the 24/7 support naturally. Yeah, I guess for example there is like this ChatGPT, whatever, you get more, whatever. You can be accounts and be ICP and get people to pay a monthly subscription for the printers that worked just fine before. Or like BMW and pay for like a heated seats subscription or shit like this. The cursed things in this world. Artificial scarcity, it really is the worst, I guess. This kind of artificial heated seats subscription, for example. I tend to put E at the end of the words. What do you mean? For their printers, you mean? I don't remember vodka apparently, but there was now with subscription for Google Power, it stops you from going full speed otherwise. That's funny. Let's do some chat GPTing. Before I put 4 instead of 4, so I assume the E before was wrong, but apparently it isn't. No, that one is correct. Because like the thing also, for example, with the creator of the Ferrari, right? If you create a Ferrari, who is creating the Ferrari, right? Enzo Ferrari, for example. The company has his name. He probably could actually enjoy the products of his thing, right? Of his creation, of his organization, of his people selection, right? Because at this point, he's not actually creating the Ferrari himself. He's no engineer. He's just telling other people what to do with the car, right? He's just guiding the company, actually, not even the cars, right? The company. So, like, he can actually get the product of the car, but for example, his job isn't to make cars. His job is to sell cars, right? So it's like his job is to sell as many cars as he can, which is actually kind of interesting, right? It's like, yeah, he can enjoy driving a Ferrari or whatever, but while driving a Ferrari, what is he thinking about? He's just thinking about how to sell more Ferraris to other people, right? Kind of crazy in a way. The Ferrari paradox, blah blah blah, touches on something have wrestled for centuries. The worker who with the Ferrari but can't afford one is experiencing what Marx called alienation, separation from the product from your labor. You make something, it lives, it belongs to someone else. Why care? True. But then you immediately complicated yourself. Even Enzo Ferrari wasn't really enjoying Ferraris, he was obsessing over selling them, so ownership isn't the same as enjoyment either. The billionaire with 10 Ferraris in a garage might get less pressure from them than someone who sees one on the street and feels genuine awe. On scarcity, specifically, the main camps break down roughly like this. Classical neoclassical economics treats scarcity as the foundational problem. Unlimited wants, limited resources, economics is about allocation. Prices emerge to ration scarce goods. Marxism argues scarcity is often artificial. Capitalism creates scarcity or maintains it to extract profit. A Ferrari isn't scarce because we lack the materials, it's scarce because exclusivity is the product. Post-scarcity thinkers, Keynes predict this. Some modern theorists explore it, ask what happens when technology makes basics abundant. Then scarcity becomes purely about status goods, which loops back to your Ferrari. The libertarian take would be scarcity is real, price is communicated efficiently, and the worker benefits from wages that they let them buy what they value. What's pulling you towards this question? Is it about work feeling more meaningful or about the distribution problem? It's about making sense of the world. Who is right? What is scarcity actually about? But also work feeling meaningful. Let me paste a tweet. I'm going to say parody of Zizek by a mutual. In the tweet there were a couple lines like the system sells you, hurts you, then sells you the cure, and I was feeling like that. I love cars since I was little, but like what kinda system would tap into me liking cars but then not give me the conditions to enjoy them? That's low-key crazy. Crazy, don't you think? What's actually scarce? What's abundant? Etc. This is exactly what critics like Marcuse meant by repressive desublimation, bro. These fucking Marxists are so annoying. The system doesn't suppress your desires. That would create rebellion. It cultivates them endlessly while making satisfaction perpetually deferred. You're supposed to want the Ferrari. The one thing is productive, it makes you work, consume content, engage with brands, define yourself through aspirations. Actually, having it, that's almost beside the point. In some ways, it would break the spell. So, what's actually scarce? Here's where it gets weird. Genuinely scarce. Time, attention, certain raw materials, specific geographic locations, trust, skilled human judgment. Artificially scarce, marked luxury goods, intellectual property, housing in cities with restrictive zoning, status itself. Abundant but treating as scarce. Food, globally we produce enough. Most digital goods, basic shelter materials, information. The car thing is particularly twisted because cars need infrastructure, roads, parking, fuel networks, all of which are collective goods. So you desire this symbol of individual freedom that actually depends entirely on massive public coordination, and then cities get designed around cars, which makes them necessary rather than enjoyable. You're training to operate trains, which is interesting in this context. Trains are the opposite logic. Collective infrastructure that actually moves people efficiently. Does the desire for cars still feel the same knowing this, or does naming it change something? Hmm. Interesting. I wasn't familiar with Marcuse. Familiar with Marcuse. Marcuse. I would also add that I think the capitalists may be right with the allocation in the things that are abundant but treated as scarce. There, the problem is distribution, which I don't know seems real, although I could also see that I could also listen to someone who says it's made artificial or something. Regarding trains, I was actually thinking in similar terms. Right now, I'm getting paid to learn about trains, which kinda sounds like a dream for someone who likes trains, right? But it doesn't feel dream-like condition. You know, it feels worrying because housing in Munich is expensive, scarce, real, but to what extent? Some artificiality there, probably in zoning, etc. So I have always that on the back of my mind, and I can't live, and I feel like I will perhaps be forced to either share a vacay or live far away from the place that I'm kinda forced to be at for work. Ostbahnhof. Apparently, it costs ChatGPT millions from people saying please and thank you, Lord. I have one glass of water for me, one glass of water for ChatGPT, one glass of water for me, one glass of water for ChatGPT. Also, you get AI if you type anything in Google, right? But AI doesn't answer if you swear. So if you ask what the fucking capital of Germany, apparently you get an AI. Lol, you're right. And here AI Berlin. You're right, right. You're right, right. The distribution point is fair, even if you first accept that food abundance exists globally, getting it to where it needs to be involves real logistics, infrastructure, preservation, incentives. The each just distribution framing can sometimes handwave away genuine hard coordination problems. Though you're right that zoning, land banking, and speculation, these create artificial bottlenecks on top of whatever real constraints exist. Your situation is a perfect microcosm of the whole tension. You're living something that on paper sounds ideal, getting paired to late trains in a country with strong worker protections in a field you're interested in. And yet, the felt experience is anxiety about housing, the mental tax of knowing the math might not work out, the looming choice between privacy and convenience. This is what people mean when they say precarity isn't just about income. It's about the cognitive load of perpetually managing scarcity, even when you're technically fine. You have a job, you have subsidizing housing for now, you'll earn decent money, but the system keeps you slightly off balance, always calculating, never quite settled. Munich housing is a mix of real and artificial scarcity. Real, it's a desirable city. Geographically constrained, lots of people want to be there. Artificial, strict heat limits, slow permitting, tenant protection that paradoxically reduce supply because landlords get cautious, investment properties sitting empty. Now, I guess I'll start swearing to Google more often now. You're right, right. You're right, right. Focusing seems like you've gone from explaining the world to try to calm my anxiety. I don't want that right now. I want to understand what's actually going on. Do, 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 do. I don't know what else to say, to be honest. guess I wanna go back to this feeling of if I can have them, I don't give a fuck. Da, 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 da. Tell it thank you, Lemao. I think it's coherent but incomplete. Here's why it makes sense. Desire isn't neutral. When you learn about Ferraris, mountain chalets, etc., whatever, you're not just receiving information, you're being shaped. Your wanting is being constructed by exposure. So there's a little logic to saying, why let myself be shaped towards things that will only produce frustration? It's a kind of self-defense against manipulation. But here's where it gets complicated. First, you can't really control what you want. You already like cars. That happened. You can't unknow them or unfeel that. So I don't give a fuck might be a stance you perform rather than something you actually achieve. Second, the logic could collapse. Most things are actually inaccessible. The best meal, the perfect relationship, massive mastery of a skill. If you only care about what you can fully have, you might end up caring about very little. Third, and this is where positive sum comes in, the framing assumes a static world. I can't have X, treats X as fixed and your access as fixed, but both can change, sometimes through luck, sometimes through collective action, sometimes through your own trajectory. The positive some critique would be that the game isn't who gets the Ferrari, it's also what the world do we build. Trains over cars, cities over sprawl, shared abundance over private hoarding. But does that actually satisfy the part of you that wants the car, or is it just another cope? Banger line at the end, or is it just another cope? And tell it thank you. Okay, I'm going to tell thank you. Lol. Banger line at the end, or is it just another cope? Thank you. I guess I just don't know how to bring positive some thinking to my current short-term future situation. How does one stay positive some minded? Let's see. Someone with 10k a month isn't agonizing over S-band proximity versus apartment size versus VG versus commute time. They just pick. That's genuinely qualitative difference in how life feels, not just more stuff. So the question becomes, how do you navigate? So easy answer, I just need 10,000 a month. I have to talk with the Deutsche Bahn, right? I was looking yesterday at the Funktionsgruppe FVG, and not gonna lie, there was not 10,000 per month anywhere. Funktionsgruppe 1, Leistungsbereich 101, 90k. I'm in Funktionsgruppe 4. That's right, it's 90 as well. Which is 7,000 a month. This is per month. And this is brutto. And that's the max you get. So it's like it seems to work by Jahre. FIA doesn't get a lot higher, and I know which are these. This is Ausbildung. This is Lokrangier. This is Streckenlokomotivführer. This is Ausland Lokomotivführer, Ausland TEV oder Mm, Fahrtrainer. This is Ausbilder oder Prüfer. And this is uh, Gruppenleader oder something like that. Gruppenleiter. And it taps out at 54. So it's like you can't literally drive trains and be rich and live in Ostbahnhof, I guess, right? Because living in Ostbahnhof is already like so expensive. So it's like it taps out after 7 fucking years. No, after 30 years. The fuck? At 4.5. 4.5 brutto. Which netto is like 3 or something, right? Less. This 3.2 netto is like 2.4. So 4.5 netto is like 3.1 or something like that. 3.2 maybe. Depends on like you whatever. Funktionsgruppe 509 01 90, which is 7k a month, which netto is like 5 or something. VG Leistungs. Do you know what Leistungsbereich means? I could guess, but I can't really explain it. Better to just look it up and think. Oh, interesting. but your base annual taxable salary cannot exceed the electronic breaks maximum. Interesting. Interesting. I'm thinking. I don't know about what, but I'm thinking. I guess I want to know about the cope part of the situation, right? Oh, is it useful to know your coping? Yes, with its limits. Pew 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 pew. Pew 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 pew. Pew 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 pew. Pew 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 pew. Pew 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 pew. I don't know. I feel like this has gotten too specific about me, me. And I wanted to like learn more about the world, about scarcity, about things like this, I guess. It's a nice thread, though, on each line of thought. But it feels like a bit too me 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 I guess what I'm trying to find is like kind of the unification of everything or something, or like reaching a point, or not sure if unification or something, but like a point where the balance of it all, a balanced point. And I don't know how that what that looks like for me. I told you that I tried to find manga using Gemini, but recently it always misses the point, forgets stuff, or even gives content blocked for things I thought were quite tame. Yeah, the content block is actually something that has happened to me as well. Sometimes I literally tell it, the fuck? Why do you say content blocked for this shit? Are you so stupid? Well, not like that. I'm polite. But I say like, what the fuck? The fuck do you mean content blocked? I'm literally like just chilling over here. I'm like mega chill as fuck. I'm not even like saying the stuff that is that NSFW or whatever, right? I'm just like, yeah, I mean, there's like hints of things or whatever, but it's like pretty tame, right? And I tell it that, and it will be like, well, or then I like I get Gemini. The good thing about it is that you can click branch. So I branch it, and I'm like, I try to word it differently, or try to, or instead of branching, okay, I usually branch anyways. I branch and I edit my previous message, and I say something like, by the way, I tried to generate something. I tried to ask this literally same question, but you blocked the answer. The fuck? Try to not block it now, or like something like this, right? And I try to like tell it, the fuck? Work with me here. Don't fucking generate shit that is going to be blocked, bro. And yeah, here I wrote, I guess I'm trying to find the either unification or balance of it all. The point where things seem to just work out and make sense. I get to enjoy cars and the freedom they provide, but also live close to work and enjoy the advantages of a city of someone like me and with my inclinations, and not just like balance in terms of cope, but like balance in terms of thriving. Like because of my actual liking of cars, my fashion sense becomes that really actually tapped in a real way. And because of me being someone with public transit experience, but also someone who likes cars, like that having value in society in itself for some reason, and like not being ashamed for any of the two or many of other things, and those actually working for me, and also leaving space for even more to come, like planes, boats, etc., etc. You know, it's like I dream hard. I guess I don't dream of like a complete simple shit. I dream of a lot of stuff, not necessarily grandiose, but certainly varied and non-conventional. This dreaming complicated shit is so annoying. I wish I could like just dream simple shit. Maybe it's better to dream complicated shit because then if you fail, it's like fuck. At least it was complicated. But if I dream simple shit like, wow, I wish I could have like just a girlfriend and have a couple kids and a house, then I'm like the fuck. I just want a girlfriend and a house, and I don't even have any of the two. It gave me a title, and while trying to give a description, it blocked. So I read it, and it was fine. Pretty much what I was looking for, so I don't get why it got blocked. Just don't dream so you can't feel copium. Let's see. While it thinks, I'm gonna have a pee and then have some water. And I think I will probably, after reading that message, I will probably cut stream and have dinner, even though it's kind of early for me and I'm not actually really hungry. I don't know. Rather earlier than later. That way I kind of sleep better because tomorrow I have to like wake up not super early, but back to our usual schedule of like 6:45 or so. Sure, I also still need to eat something, but I'm not hungry yet. I can actually still live till 9, so I'm fine today to stay up a bit longer. That's chill. So far, it's a decent analysis. Where I see you, you're someone with engineering credentials who stepped away from the traditional engineering path but didn't lose the technical brain. You're now getting deep operational knowledge of European rail infrastructure from the inside, not as a consultant or analyst, but as someone who will literally drive the trains. That's unusual. Most people who write or think about transit are observers. You will be a practitioner with a technical background and a genuine feel for the car world too. The multilingual thing plus Japan connections plus being embedded in German systems is also distinct. Germany and Japan are arguably the two countries where train culture and car culture both exist at high levels without one fully defeating the other. That's not an accident. It says something about how they structure things. You're positioned to understand that from the inside rather than theorizing about it. Where I see gaps. The mobility conversation right now is weirdly polarized. Urbanist Twitter hates cars. True. Car people feel defensive and dismissed. But the actual future is probably more like what you described. Cars as horses, recreation, enthusiasm, specific use cases, not default infrastructure. Almost nobody is articulating that transition in a way that doesn't feel like either cope or attack. Someone who genuinely loves cars, operates trains, understands both systems technically, and can speak to why someone might mourn the old car world while also building the new transit world, that perspective barely exists publicly. The people who work in transit often don't have car enthusiasm. The car people often have contempt for transit. You're neither. Whoa, that's actually true. I'm kind of unique in that way. I'm like so unique. I'm like such a specific snowflake. Where content voice might matter. The F1 to Netflix to fashion pipeline you mentioned is real. There's appetite for car culture as aesthetic and narrative, detached from car ownership. But most of what exists is either pure consumerism, influencers with press cars, or pure nostalgia, classic car content. The thoughtful, what does it mean that this thing I love is becoming a relic angle is underexplored. Same with the train side. There's train spotter content, there's urbanist policy content, but what does it actually feel like to operate the systems and what do they mean is less common. You could eventually be a voice in that space, not as a job necessarily, but as a position. Writing, video, whatever medium. The thing you're doing in this conversation, working through the philosophy of it, the political economy, the personal desire, that's the raw material. Bottlenecks. The next 2 years are going to be demanding. Look through the training, stabilizing housing, learning the job. You probably can't build something big on the side during that phase. True. But you can document and accumulate, keep notes, take photos, notice things. notice things. Maybe you write occasionally, even if it's not public yet. The material is the life you're living. The financial constraint is real, but not permanent. 200 net in Munich is tight, but it's a starting wage in a job with progression. The housing stress will probably stay for a while, but might ease slightly as you learn the theory. Find the right situation, build local knowledge. The credibility situation. Am I an insider or an outsider in the car world? Might actually matter less than you think. Outsiders with their perspective are often more interesting than insiders who are captured by industry logic. You are not trying to become Ferrari's head of design. You're trying to be someone whose view of this stuff has weight. What I don't know, whether you actually want to build something public or whether integration means something more private. Just a life that makes sense to you without needing external recognition. Both are valid, but they're different paths. What do you actually want the synthesis to do? What's good? Just checking in. Yo, how's it going? Long time no see. Today it's everyone numbers, right? It's Quadro 201, Hanio 137. I'm talking to AI here about I started with this note here. if I can't have them, I don't give a fuck. But then also, like, it's impossible to have everything, to be honest. And scarcity, why work on something scarce? Like, if I can't have them, I don't give a fuck. It's like, if I can't have cars, it's like, why give a fuck about cars, right? It's like, I can't have them. If I can't have a nice car, why the fuck would I work for BMW, right? If I'm only going to get a BMW, if I get into fucking debt and have to, like, get changed to a fucking loan, right? No, it's like, I don't want that. But also, how the fuck, it's like, why the fuck do I like cars in the first place and all this, right? And I was exploring all this and talking to AI about it, and we ended up here. How are you doing, by the way? How's life in Pakistan? Let's do the classic weather check. Yo, it's actually cold here. Cold there, right? 20 degrees max. This time of the year isn't that bad, right? It seems like a decent time to visit. Why is Lahore the most contaminated city in the world, the most polluted city in the world? What time is it right now? 10 p.m. 6 y 4, 10. 6 plus 4, 10. 4 hours, I guess. I'm not sure if you, I guess, don't do daylight savings, or if you do, yeah, and it's just like the same. That's decent though. Kind of chilly right now. Here it's almost like 0 degrees or something like this. Oh no, it's actually 6 degrees right now. Unique weather. Here it's 6 degrees. I guess it's the peak of the day. Hot. Like, you know, working on an aeronautical ship or spaceship, you're not gonna get a spaceship, but could be worth for innovation. But I guess we're hella too busy to give a shit about it, to be honest. True, it's like if you work on... it's like, but isn't it kind of crazy to like work on a plane and never... I don't know, I guess drive the plane, maybe it sounds stupid in a way, right? It's like if you're a train engineer, do you actually care about like driving the train itself? Maybe you just care about like the train working well and you like being able to ride the train to work today, and that's enough, right? Like if you work on like Boeing 747, it's like you don't need a private Boeing 747 jet to take you. You're just like, okay, I can ride the Boeing 747 out and about. So it's like in a way working for those kind of things. That is interesting. Working for space, then it's like weird. Because for example, if you're working for SpaceX, private company, Elon Musk, it's like you're making Elon richer and you're doing what, right? You're just smart as fuck because you're like aerospace engineer or whatever. You're making Elon Musk richer so that he can buy Twitter and tweet dumb shit. You're working on cool technology like reusable rockets, etc. But it's like, who the fuck is using the rockets? What for, right? What are you shoving up there? Satellites. I mean, that is cool, I guess. Starlink, internet for poor people or whatever, or like for people who are like living in remote places. Yeah, that is actually like a decent mission, I would say. Making space travel cheaper in general. That's cool in a way, right? Like someone's gotta do it. Yeah, it's called. Do you need to grow food to like eating it and appreciate that it's there? No. So why do you have to enjoy flying to build a plane? I mean, but do you need to enjoy eating food to grow it? Kinda, right? It's like that logic is reversed, right? It's like if you build a plane and you don't enjoy flying, then I am kind of like, I don't know, why do you do it, right? It's like it's not cursed or whatever, but it's kind of like, I don't know. Imagine being so good at something, like I don't know. Imagine the reason you are building planes is because you are good at it, but you don't actually like planes, right? I don't mean flying them. I mean in general, right? You don't like what they do, right? If you think, oh, they pollute so much, they I don't like flying. I always take the train, right? It's like then it does seem kind of stupid that you are working in planes, right? It's like go work in trains if you like prefer trains, right? It's like isn't there a way where your smarts are like better applied there? Why are you in? I would ask those questions, I guess, right? What did you do, Quadro? You were like software engineer, right? Ah, you said you had a boss that was annoying or something, right? Did that change? I was also asking this question, right? It's like when I work, who do I make richer, right? And I think it's interesting to know. For example, Hanio makes someone richer, but he accepts the trade-offs, right? He is like, yeah, I make whoever richer, my boss richer, but I don't take the responsibilities that he takes, blah blah blah, right? I work less than he does, etc. So I accept that. It's chill, right? But I think it's still useful to know. Let's take who are you making richer, right? I write websites and go fix networks for customers and stuff, but I don't really care for it. It's just something I am capable of. Yeah, I guess, right? If the person, for example, said, "Yeah, I'm actually good at," but it's like, yeah, I guess yeah, but in your case, it's more like you don't really care for it, but it's also that you don't really care for odd. I don't know. It's not like, yeah, I hate websites, right? Or I hate networks. It's like you do chill on the internet or whatever, right? It's like you don't particularly care for it, but also don't particularly care against it, right? And also, and it's I don't know. It seems like it's kind of your world, right? It's like if the person who builds planes and it's like, yeah, I'm good at building planes, and yeah, sometimes I ride a plane, right? Sometimes not. It's chill, but I don't particularly like planes. I just simply do it. Then it's like, okay, chill, right? That's chill. It's like, yeah, I get paid well. I'm good at it. Planes, meh, but yeah, they're flying out there. Well, technically, but looking back, I should have put more time into music and maybe studied that if I wanted something that interests me. But I just watched anime and read manga all day, so that's what I did. Yeah, I guess. But see, in that sense, maybe it's like, I don't know. I mean, giving the advice to someone of like, yeah, you should go into music as a job, right? It's tough, right? Because it's like difficult to go into music as a job. I don't know. Maybe time there is like the opportunity to merge them something a little bit or like go closer, right? Maybe it's like, yeah, you could work in like networks or whatever, but maybe you could do like networks and focus on studios, music studios or whatever, right? Doing networking for a music studio or things like this, or like try to learn a little bit about that, right? And it's like you take the knowledge that you have right now. But yeah, my point would be then like it's like why the fuck would you learn about music networks if you're not going to have your own music network or something, right? I guess the types of business that I like the most, right, are when it's like you had a problem, you solved it for yourself. For example, you buy a rack, one of these kind of studio racks or whatever, and you buy like Logic Pro or whatever for your computer, and then you build like the plugins or you like create a network where that fucking Logic Pro software runs or whatever, right? I don't fucking know how that works, but I know that there exists like these studio music racks, and that the racks have like software in them, I assume, right? So it's like you do that for yourself, and then you like make a video or whatever, or like someone sees you, or like you tell someone, and they say, okay, I'll pay you if you do that for me, right? And you do it. Then I feel like that's dope because you have your own thing, right? And you're just like expanding. I like that. I like the vibe of that. That feels like, okay, this is right, right? This feels right. But it feels less right to be like, I'm an engineer at Ferrari, right? I work at this prestigious company, but I don't get to touch the Ferrari or something. I don't know. It's like that feels strange and like bad. I don't know. For example, I have a friend who has friends who work for Formula One teams. They're like on the bottom end, the Formula One teams, but they work there. And well, if I say in Switzerland, there is like only one team in Switzerland, a Formula One team, but they're in that team. So they live in Switzerland with a good salary. They're doing engineering work and such for a Formula One team, which has like prestige and such. Then the work day to day isn't like mega top because they are not like actually at the top of the game, right? They are like one of the bottom teams, and they have like a lot of subcontractors, and like the flow of that isn't that satisfactory or whatever. But the situation they're in is like actually pretty decent, right? They're making a fuck ton of money. They can buy a car that is dope as fuck that I can't dream of right now, for example, right? Even my friend can't really dream of that car right now. So it's like, damn, right? But yeah, I don't know. I wasn't even planning on studying informatic. Wanted to study math, but I didn't check if I could accept it. Basically, I applied to 7 unis and I only got a message for the last one since I forgot the one for the ones I applied to before. Bro. So I got into coding because I was too lazy to give a fuck. Lol. I mean, that's funny. It is sad in a way, right? Because, like, what if, right? Why did you want to study math? I follow like one of the guys that I respected the most in like Spanish YouTube. He is this music guy, right? And he actually studied math, I think. He did both things, if I recall correctly. He like did conservatory music, right? So he was like from like, very little studying music, and then in the college or whatever studied math, if I recall correctly. And he's always like reading, has read about math, etc. Let me check because I may be spreading misinformation. So he studied 2 years of maths and physics, but did he finish the degree? I think he didn't finish the degree, maybe. Because I always had top grades without doing anything for it. The same with music, but I hate music. was hard to study. Also, I'm glad I didn't choose math, since even in my uni I had 3 math classes, and they didn't remind me of what I wanted. It barely had any numbers left. Lol. The fuck. Okay, stream is still going, right? 393. Yeah, a friend of mine studied math, and he says that as a joke all the time. He says, "I don't know why I studied math. It doesn't have any numbers in it or whatever. It's all letters or something. Plus, there's a lot of writing as well, right? It's like doing proofs and all this." I actually think that I would have liked math, because I actually don't really like numbers that much. I'm actually pretty bad with numbers, to be honest. Like doing mental math and shit like this, I'm pretty bad at it. But I feel like this kind of text manipulation, I would actually kind of be decent at it. Once the numbers roll in, that's when it goes wrong. But bro, okay, yeah, but I was saying that this guy studied math and also music, right? And it's like he makes connections between the fields and such, and like has this kind of math mentality that kind of makes certain musical things be like dope. I think they're fucking playing with my network. Am I on a VPN? I am. I think that's why I'm getting like so fucking low bit rates or something, because I'm on a VPN. I don't want to disconnect because I'm on stream, but fuck. Anyways, let's go back to this. I guess on this, my things were like, what I don't know, whether you want actually to build something more public or whether integration means something more private. Fuck it. I'm not going to do this later. Right now, I'm going to have dinner, I think. Well, let's see. tonight I'm going to actually like do this. But it's like I don't like using a bzz here because it's like it makes my this itch, my armpit itch. So I use like this cream, shaving cream. But if it's like too short, it doesn't work. So it's like I can't do it super often. But then I forget, and then I don't do it. Same with my, you know, there it's the same. It's like I don't like bzz, so I use the cream. But then I can't use the cream often, so then I forget. I don't know why today I'm wearing this shirt. Or like, I was like, huh. Since I'm staying here at home, I'm like, who gives a fuck? Bro, I can't shave well under my armpits because I am too skinny. What do you mean by that? Does it like do weird gaps? Also, yeah, this is a way. I don't think it's weird. Sorry, it's not like. It's also hard because it has like bumps, right? So it's hard to like bzz because it goes like this. Right? That's why I don't do it because it hurts. Too. It's like a bit hollow, if you know what I mean, like a dent. And there are always spots I just don't reach no matter how I stretch it with my other hand. Yeah, I think the same happens here, I guess. But I guess if you are skinny, it is like way more pronounced, right? It's more like. Hostia. Has stream stopped? No, okay. But I guess if the stream would stop at this point, I'd assume you would also just end the stream there. Then, yeah, I guess. Yeah. I haven't been sharing the screen. Oh well. Not important, to be honest. I was just writing a little bit. But yeah, I think I will finish this later. Basically says, yeah, thank you. That was good, closer to what I wanted. I guess I am insecurity regarding to what you said is that I do have engineering credentials but barely have experience in it. Plus, they're not like epic credentials. And regarding content, I'm big about content and I do have a YouTube and such, and generally believe it's positive. And in fact, I did try YouTube kind of hard, not in effort / quality, but in consistency, and failed. But yeah, it wasn't about these topics, and failed to grow. To grow it, reach my goals with it, which to be honest are kind of like stupid, I guess. Make money, not have a job was the goal, I guess. I guess there were more goals than that. There was also like the goals of like finding a job, right, through YouTube. And like talking to people and such. Okay. With this, I'm not even going to generate the answer. I'll generate it later and add a couple of other things. And yeah, that's it for the week. Hope you had a nice day and a nice week. Hope the next week is better. And yeah, thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Quadro, as well, for the couple of minutes that he showed up. Actually, more than a couple, let's say. From 6:20 to 6:30 or so. All right, good appetit. I don't know if I'm going to eat right now. Actually, I'm not hungry. I ate at 2 p.m. to be honest. But yeah, maybe I cook now, and when I cook and when I smell the like meat or whatever, I'm like, okay, actually, let's do it. And yeah, actually, talking to Claude and like asking it, okay, how do I do whatever? Actually, let's do that. Actually, I'll do that later off stream, I guess, and bye bye. Because I'm going to do it on my phone probably. So yeah, ciao.